Somewhere right now, a teenager is staring at a number on their phone that wasn't there yesterday. Their first real paycheck. They start scrolling for something to buy: food, a hoodie, a game, anything that turns the number into something that feels earned. Nobody ever sat them down and told them to spend it before the feeling wore off. They didn't have to. They'd watched the rhythm for years, tight before payday, a parent's shoulders a little higher than usual. Then, the money lands, and the house exhales. Takeout appears on the counter. A small treat gets bought without anyone thinking twice. A week later, everything tightens again. Like the house remembers to hold its breath. That teenager never learned a thing about cash flow. They learned the rhythm, and now they're about to repeat it, dollar for dollar, with money entirely their own. That's the part almost nobody talks about. The money habits your kids copy before they understand money. Long before anyone begins teaching them about paychecks, bills, or budgets, they are already absorbing the emotional sequence around all three. There are 7 patterns that commonly enter childhood this way. Some barely look financial until they appear years later in an adult bank account. The 5th is one most parents never think of as a lesson at all. And the 6th can shape how a child handles money with another person. We'll get there. The first begins when money arrives. That payday rhythm can look harmless because the spending itself may be small. Takeout shows up on a random Tuesday. A purchase declined last week suddenly gets approved. Someone says, "I just got paid," the way other people say grace, like it explains everything that happens next. Mostly, the adult just feels relieved. Bills are handled, or about to be, and relief wants somewhere to go. But the kid in the room is tracking a sequence. Restriction, arrival, relief, spending, restriction again. What they may copy is simple and expensive. That new money exists, to be felt before it's used. That a paycheck is a mood before it's a resource. Years later, that kid gets their own income and feels a strange pressure to make it visible fast. Spend hard for 2 days, feel broke for the rest of the month, repeat the cycle as the salary climbs. The fix isn't canceling every payday treat. Let a kid occasionally see money get a job before it gets a reward. Bills paid, a little saved, then the takeout, in that order, and occasionally out loud. The second habit appears when money is disrupted. The car develops the kind of sound that seems to know payday just happened. The dentist finds something that, by remarkable coincidence, waited until your bank balance recovered. A bill lands $50 higher than expected. What the kid studies in that moment isn't the number itself. They usually have no idea whether $50 is a disaster or a Tuesday. They're studying the room. Does a parent get angry, blame someone, announce the whole month is ruined? Or do they go quiet for a second, look at the number, and start asking what moves? A kid can inherit the emotional size of a problem without ever learning its actual size. A strange kind of debt to carry into adulthood. Flinching at a bill you can easily afford because the body learned the flinch years before the brain learned the math. A parent doesn't have to pretend a surprise cost is easy. Saying, "This is annoying. We didn't plan for it. Let's see what we move," teaches something a calm face alone never could. And those ordinary moments are what this channel is about. The money habits your kids may already be picking up before anyone realizes a lesson is happening. Like and subscribe to Raise to Spend for more, and let's continue decoding those habits. The third habit is especially easy to miss because it often sounds completely reasonable. It hides inside the explanations adults give themselves. Adults rarely describe a purchase in the plainest possible way. Almost nobody says, "I wanted this, so I bought it." Instead, the purchase arrives with a lawyer already attached. "It was on sale. I deserve it. It's only $20 a month. I've had a rough week." Some of these are even true. This is how emotional spending often gets passed down. The feeling arrives first, and the explanation is hired afterward. The habit shows up when the sentence does more work than the decision underneath it. Parents will hold a $7 coffee while insisting they're saving money this month. And kids notice that the story and the receipt do not quite agree. That same reflex turns a couch into 4 easy payments, and a phone into $41.62 a month. No interest for now. The couch did not become cheaper. It simply learned to speak monthly. That is where debt can quietly join the explanation. Borrowing lets a purchase feel settled before it has actually been paid for. The monthly payment becomes the story, while the total cost and interest slip into the background. The average American carries roughly $6,600 in credit card debt, much of it at interest rates above 20%. That number is rarely built from one dramatic decision. It grows through purchases that each sounded manageable when explained 1 month at a time. A kid fluent in justification may never learn to say, "I can't afford this." They'll learn, "It's an investment," or "It's basically free with the discount." The same sentence, older and pricier. The fix costs nothing. Let a kid hear the plain version sometimes. "I want this, and I'm going to wait." A purchase doesn't need a courtroom defense, to be honest. The fourth habit is even easier to miss, because it forms through avoidance. The lesson comes from what a parent refuses to do. An adult knows a financial number exists and chooses not to look. There's a particular face adults make when opening a banking app, glancing at it for 1 second, and closing it again. Bills sit unopened on the counter. A subscription keeps renewing because canceling it has somehow become a household renovation project. Someone says, "I don't even want to know," and laughs, like the balance can't hurt them if they don't look. What a kid may copy has nothing to do with math. They learn that avoiding the number feels safer than facing it, even as the money problem quietly grows harder to ignore. Years later, that lesson can become unopened mail, missed renewals, and fraud that sits unnoticed for months. The child did nothing wrong. They simply learned that looking away was how adults made discomfort smaller. They have learned financial avoidance before they have any finances of their own to avoid. The reframe is simple. Let a kid see the checking sometimes, not the private numbers, just the behavior. "I'm looking at what came out this week. That charge looks wrong. I'm calling about it." Looking doesn't create the problem. It's what makes the problem small enough to fix. The fifth habit is the one many parents never think of as teaching at all, because it can look as ordinary as asking for a refund, questioning a fee, or leaving without buying. Many children watch money leave. Fewer watch an adult actively defend its value. Does a parent treat every price and fee as fixed? Or do they occasionally ask a question, return the wrong size, cancel something unused, push back on a charge that looks off? They might even cancel a subscription, despite the 3 increasingly emotional emails insisting the family will miss it terribly. A house where nobody ever questions anything teaches, without a single lecture, that the sticker price is the real price and that asking about money is embarrassing. A house where someone asks, "Can we do better than this?" teaches something else just as quietly. That a charge can be wrong, that walking away isn't losing, that a financial decision is something you participate in, rather than something that happens to you. This shows up later in whether someone negotiates a salary, questions a fee, or reads a contract before signing it. This is financial agency, and a child can absorb it by watching one calm question get asked out loud. They learn that money decisions can be examined, challenged, and sometimes reversed. The sixth habit goes deeper, because it teaches children who money gives power to. Children notice who controls the money in a house and who has to ask for it, who spends without explaining themselves, and who explains every purchase in advance. Who gets blamed when things are tight, who gets quietly labeled bad with money, fairly or not. A child may not understand unequal incomes, divided responsibilities, or the complicated history between two adults, but they understand permission and secrecy immediately. This is where family money habits become relationship habits. What they may copy has almost nothing to do with dollars. Money starts to look like authority, something that decides whose voice counts and makes hiding a purchase feel safer than mentioning it. This deserves real care. It isn't a verdict on every household where one person handles the budgeting or earns more. Different responsibilities aren't a warning sign. What matters is the pattern underneath. Does money create cooperation in that house or secrecy? A child who repeatedly watches cooperation has a healthier model for sharing financial decisions later. A child who watches secrecy may spend years relearning that their voice belonged in the conversation all along. The final habit matters because every child will eventually get money wrong, and what they copy next may determine whether the mistake stays small. Before that happens, most will already have watched an adult overspend, forget a bill, trust the wrong person, or buy something they regret. What they're actually studying is what comes after. Does the mistake get hidden, denied, blamed on someone else, turned into a permanent identity? Or does someone say it plainly, look at the damage, and start moving the pieces back into place. A kid who watches an adult calmly repair a money mistake is more likely to face their own mistakes honestly and take steps to fix them. A kid who's only watched secrecy tends to hide problems until they're too big to hide. No parent models perfect money behavior. There will be panic, bad decisions, excuses, and at least one bill that both adults were apparently certain the other had paid. What matters is whether the child also sees the repair, the honest admission, the phone call, the returned purchase, or the adjusted plan. Teaching kids about money begins long before the first allowance, savings jar, or budgeting app. None of this means turning a house into a finance classroom or handing a 9-year-old the family's private stress. A few ordinary behaviors simply need to become visible: money getting a job before it gets spent, a surprise cost being discussed before it becomes a crisis, and a kid seeing the moment a mistake gets fixed, not only the moment it happened. What matters most is whether the behavior a kid watches on repeat teaches them to face money, or to flinch from it, justify it, hide from it, or use it against someone they love. Years from now, some version of that kid will open a first paycheck, sign a first lease, or split a bill with someone they love, and they probably won't remember the exact conversation about saving that felt, at the time, like the important part. What they might remember is smaller: the sound a parent made when an unexpected bill showed up, the sentence used to justify something unneeded, a banking app opened for 1 second and closed again. Or maybe they'll remember the other version: the calm question asked about a wrong charge, the evening a mistake got said out loud and handled instead of buried. Somewhere on a kitchen counter tonight, there's a receipt nobody has looked at twice. It's just paper. But it's the kind of ordinary object a kid can walk past 100 times without noticing, right up until the day they're old enough to understand what it had been teaching them all along. If this made one ordinary money moment feel less ordinary, subscribe to Raised to Spend. We explore the money habits kids learn at home and how parents can prepare them before adulthood raises the price.